ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 11, entitled The Childhood Pastimes of Krishna, text number 57. Aho Brahmavidam Vacho Na Satyaha Santi Karhichit Gargo Yad Aha Bhagavan Anvabhavi Tathaiva Tat. Aho Brahmavidam Vacho Na Satyah Santi Karhichit Gargo Yaddah Bhagavan Anvabhavi Tathaiva Tat. Aho Brahmavidam Vacho Na Satyah Santi Karhichit Gargo Yaddah Bhagavan Anvabhavi Tathaiva Tat. Aho Brahmavidam Vacho Na Satyah Santi Karhichit Gargo Yaddah Bhagavan Anvabhavi Tathaiva Tat. Gargo Yaddah Bhagavan Tathaiva Tat. Aho Brahmavidam Vacho Na Satyah Santi Karhichit Gargo Yaddah Bhagavan Anvabhavi Tathaiva Tat. Aho Brahmavidam Vacho Na Satyah Santi Karhichit Gargo Yaddah Bhagavan Anvabhavi Tathaiva Tat. Aho Brahmavidam Vacho Na Satyah Santi Karhichit Gargo Yaddah Bhagavan Anvabhavi Tathaiva Tat. Mataji's. Aho Brahma Vidam Vacho Na Satyah Santi Karhichit Gargo Yadaha Bhagavan Tathaiva Tat. Aho, how wonderful it is. Brahmavidam, of persons who have full knowledge of Brahman, transcendence. Vachaha, the words. Na, never. Asatyaha, untruth. Santi, become. Karhichit, at any time. Gargaha, Gargamuni, yat, whatever. Aha, predicted. Bhagavan, Gargamuni, the most powerful. Anvabhavi is exactly happening. Tathaeva, as. Tat, that. Translation. The words of persons in full knowledge of Brahman never become untrue. It is very wonderful that whatever Gargamuni predicted, we are now actually experiencing in all detail. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. The purpose of human life is indicated in the Brahma Sutra, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. To make one's life perfect in the past, present and future, one must learn about Brahman. Because of intense affection, Nanda Maharaj could not understand Krishna as he is. Gargamuni was able to know everything, past, present and future, by studying the Vedas. But Nanda Maharaj could not understand Krishna directly. Because of his intense love for Krishna, he forgot who Krishna was and could not understand Krishna's potency. Although Krishna is Narayan himself, Gargamuni did not disclose this. Thus, Nanda Maharaj appreciated the words of Gargamuni, but because of his deep affection, he could not understand who Krishna was. Although Gargamuni had said that Krishna's qualities would be exactly like those of Narayan. Om Jnanatimirandhas Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahiyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Aho Brahma Vidam Vacho Na Satyaha Santi Karhichit Gargo Yad Aha Bhagavan Anvabhavi Tathaiva Tat. The words of persons in full knowledge of Brahman can never become untrue. It is very wonderful that whatever Gargamuni predicted, we are now actually experiencing in all detail. So once there was a new preacher in town. Did not know the place very well. So this religious teacher, or as we sometimes call as preacher, wanted to get to the post office. He asked for directions from a boy, a 10-year-old boy. The boy gave him directions. He told him, you go straight and then after 2 turns you turn right and then you'll find the post office. So the religious teacher, he asked the young boy, do you know who I am? The boy said, yes, you are the new teacher for our congregation. You are the new Prabhu for our congregation. And do you know what I do? He said, yes, you deliver lectures. And do you know what I speak in my lectures? He said, I don't know that. So the new Prabhu decided to teach him the conclusion of what his teachings would be. He said, I teach you to go back home, back to Godhead. And today evening also I am going to deliver a lecture where I'm going to teach you how to go back home, back to Godhead. Would you like to come to my lecture? The boy said, no. So the Prabhu asked, why? The boy said, if you don't know your way to the post office, how will you know your way back home, back to Godhead? So here the word Brahma Vidam is being used. Brahma Vidam, Srila Prabhupada translates as of persons who have full knowledge of Brahman or transcendence. And these words are spoken by Nanda Maharaj. In the previous verse, Nanda Maharaj, who is sitting down with all the cowherd men and discussing about Krishna's wonderful activities, is wondering as to how is it that Krishna has been able to kill so many demons like Putana and Trinavat and Shakatasur and so on and so forth. And as is typical with people who have belief in what they have heard traditionally in a Vedic society, they have heard from their religious teachers, they have heard from their elders, they have also to a certain extent practiced that. They believed in fate and they believed in action and the law of action and reaction. So Nanda Baba felt that maybe in a previous life Krishna and all these personalities were, they did not have good relations with each other, so they fought a lot. And the same is carrying over. Sometimes when it's not seen so much nowadays because the influence of the media is much on relationships. But in the olden days, our generation's olden days, if a mother would get very angry with her child and would be exasperated with her, then she would exclaim sometimes in exasperation and disgust, maybe this is my enemy from past life born again. My son is my enemy from past life. I must have given him a lot of trouble, so he has come to give me trouble now. So Nanda Baba is using the same philosophy, and it is based on the philosophy of karma, the principle of karma, that maybe it is Krishna. So then the question comes that all right, in the previous life maybe Krishna killed all of them, so in this lifetime they should have some varchasva, they should be more powerful, or they should exact revenge on Krishna. So this verse explains why the law of karma does not exactly work in the case of Krishna. It works in the case of all the other living entities, just like Akinchan Krishna Prabhu yesterday was mentioning in his wonderful lecture. He made the point that Krishna is always victorious. The living entity may sometimes be victorious, generally may not. But Krishna is always victorious. It doesn't matter how long, for how many generations Krishna has been fighting whom. Yes, he was mentioning from the Mahabharata that how it has been explained that these are all demons in the past who had come to fight with the demigods who had taken birth in the Yadu dynasty. And Krishna fought them and killed them. So previously also Krishna had fought them. Demons like Kala Nemi was killed by Krishna. And Kansa was reminded by Narada Muni, you are the same. And now Krishna has come again and you will be killed. So here, Nanda Maharaj is seemingly accepting the fact that it is not possible for Krishna to be harmed by any of these demoniac personalities. Why? Because Nanda Maharaj does not, as Prabhupada states, understand completely from just the point of knowledge. Because his knowledge is covered by the sweet, it is imbued by the sweet rasa, the sweet mellows of love. You know, sometimes for some of our devotees, today he is not here, generally he is there for every Bhagavatam class and morning program. Nanda Gopal Prabhu, yes. He gets methi laddus for brahmacharis. He is laughing, he knows. So sometimes the laddus are very sweet, sometimes they do have their bitter taste. When they are very sweet, occasionally you may feel the methi seeds. What do you call methi in English? Fenugreek? No, that is jeera. What is methi? Fenugreek only? Thank you, Mataji, yes. Fenugreek. Occasionally, because maybe this time the person who prepared the laddu, the cook, has changed the proportion of the sugar or the jaggery as compared to the fenugreek seeds, the methi seeds. And occasionally when it is really cooked well, it's always cooked well, but occasionally on certain occasions, sometimes, even the methi seeds are, they have the sweetness within them. So when you eat that, you feel, oh, this is not the regular methi laddu. It is very sweet. It is as if there is no methi in it. So similarly, Nanda Baba is saying Krishna's, the gyan, the knowledge of Krishna is like the methi in the methi laddu. But it is overpowered by the sweetness of the methi laddu. And therefore he cannot understand Krishna. Directly, Prabhupada says, Nanda Maharaj appreciated the words of Garga Muni. Here. Nanda Maharaj could not understand Krishna directly. So anyways, to understand Krishna completely, as Prabhupada has mentioned here, know everything past, present and future. One requires to have the good fortune, very good fortune of having a Brahma Vidam, or someone who actually knows Krishna past, present and future. Someone like Gargacharya or Garga Muni. It is only by the mercy of Acharyas that one comes to know Krishna. One hears about Krishna. One does not know Krishna. Now, some of the devotees went to see this. Reliance Industries has produced this new three-dimensional animated movie, Krishna or Kans. In English it's called Hare Krishna. It is based on the person who has written the script. He has acknowledged that it is based on the stories as penned down by Srila Prabhupada in the Krishna book. The Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that book. So, some comments by some of the viewers that came back was, because there was another series of or episodes of pastimes of Krishna as a child that were brought before in the past couple of years by Reliance Industries, produced by them, called Little Krishna. So some of the comments was, especially by those who have heard a lot about Krishna, that the previous one was better. But the previous episodes were all of 45 minutes, sometimes even 1.5 hours, and each one dealing with only one pastime, and this was hardly 45 minutes to 1 hour movie, and it encompassed everything from Krishna's birth prior to that up to Krishna removing the burden of Kansa from this planet. And within that, there were 5-6 different moments where pure philosophy was injected. Who is Raja Rani? Akrura's prayers. Amazing. So even after watching that, one may learn, one may hear about Krishna, but does one know Krishna? Knowing Krishna is completely different from the mental aspect of knowing Krishna. For that we need Brahma Vidam. Not just Brahma Vidam, but we need the mercy of Brahma Vidam. We need the mercy of an Acharya to know Krishna. Why? Why do we stress so much on Brahma Vidam or the words of an Acharya? Because Nanda Maharaj here, who better than the hearing from the very mouth, the very wonderful, words of Nanda Baba himself. He says, because asatyaha, it is never untrue. The words of anyone who is not in that category could be true, could not be true. Generally it is asatyaha. Or it is untrue. But here, na asatya, sorry, he says na asatya. It is not untrue. Na satyaha santikar hichit. The words of the Brahma Vidam or the Acharya never turn out to be untrue. This is the predominant quality. Hence, it is the words of the Acharya which was always Satyameva Jayate. Nobody can take these words and start off their own way of thinking. It may create some benefit in society, it will create chaos in society also. So, what is the Acharya's mercy? It is their nature of being not untrue. They always speak the absolute truth, they give the absolute truth. There is another aspect to the mercy of the Acharyas. The other aspect of the mercy of the Acharyas is that the mercy has to be received. If the mercy is not received, what will the true words of the Acharya do? So here, Nanda Baba is seemingly he is sitting with all the cowherd men and they are discussing how is this possible? And the words of the Acharyas in the form of Garga Muni's words serve as a solace, give some conclusion, give some answer to that. Yes, Garga Muni had said that his actions or his qualities are just like those of Narayan himself. And Nanda Baba, that is, everyone accepts that conclusion. Okay, it's as good as Narayan himself. Now, Nanda Baba has many topics to hear and remember, and at least from the Srimad Bhagavatam it appears that his hearing from Garga Acharya was only till the moment when they were in the cowshed, where Garga Acharya had come to open a Goshala, to give names to Nanda Baba's sons. Nanda Baba heard it, he remembered it, and it helped him, or those words proved beneficial, they proved helpful in this situation. Now sometimes we may wonder as to what does it mean, instructions of the spiritual master. It means they come to our aid when we are in the most need of it. They also form the foundation or the platform whenever we feel life is going hale and hearty. You see, sometimes when the stage program is so wonderful, the performers as well as the audience forgets that it is because of the stage that they are performing there. So sometimes when everything is going very nicely, it is because of the instructions of the spiritual master, that is the stage. And specifically when we need it the most, those instructions, they are a saving grace. So that is why it is called as mercy of the spiritual master. Guru Kripa. Kripa Bindu Diya. That is why we pray that let that mercy drop always remain on us. So hearing from the spiritual master or hearing from a Brahma Vedam is of paramount importance. Now, what is our situation? Our situation in terms of Prahlad Maharaj, who is a self-realized soul at the point when he is giving this, when he is putting forth his condition. You see, Prahlad Maharaj has been blessed by Nrsingadev, and Nrsingadev is standing in front of him and has removed all of his obstacles. Occasionally when we get an opportunity, like sometimes I get an opportunity in the entire crowd of devotees on a special occasion when the Lord is benedicting everyone on one of his special days of appearing in this material world, and one gets an opportunity and one stands in front of the Lord, His Lordship Himself. And many a times the understanding is, oh, today I was so fortunate. I got the opportunity to be face to face in front of the Lord. And we feel happy, sometimes we may feel proud of it, sometimes we may feel that we have been specially blessed. Very rarely we may also be in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kamabhi kamam anuyah prapatan prasangat. My dear Lord, my condition is that I am simply following the general populace into the ditch, into the blind well of material existence full of snakes. Prahlad Maharaj is using the word patan twice in this verse. Patan means fall down, or the tendency to fall down, the tendency to be pulled by the modes of material nature, in particular the lower modes of material nature. Because the lower modes of material nature are what is symbolically the stinging of snakes in terms of Trishna, hankering, in terms of various desires, in terms of ignorance, laziness. They sting us. Has laziness ever helped anyone? No, we feel the pinch of it. Has passion or incessant desires ever given happiness? No, we feel the burns of it. Yes, Gyan, the mode of ignorance, being in knowledge sometimes gives some soothing effect and happiness. Sukhat sangena badanati, Gyana sangena chanakha. So, pit full of snakes means the repeated pinching of the modes. And he says twice the words he's using, because one is, it is like a local train, local train of Mumbai. This material world is like that. Somehow or the other you're standing on the platform, the crowd pulls you in, you go in, then you realize this is not where I want to go. I don't want to enter this train. So that is where one falls. That is the first situation of falling. And second is kama abhikaman. And second is one's own endeavor. So general populace is also encouraging one to be pushed in the direction of material desires, and one's own inherent passion is impelling one to go there. Therefore he uses the word patan twice. It's a very dangerous situation. Similarly, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sanatana Goswami, he meets Lord Chaitanya at Varanasi. Lord Chaitanya indicates to him, what are you doing with this wonderful blanket? Why have you got this new model of, new cell phone model? I've renounced everything else. We renounced, eating once a day only, and Shravan month special tapasya, Chaturamas special tapasya. But this is the time that Apple comes out with iPad 3. What to do? So what are you doing with this blanket? So he goes and exchanges it for an old quilt. That is when Lord Chaitanya says, yes, Krishna saved you from the deep dark well of ignorance, and now just for a blanket, could mislead, you could lose track. So now I will instruct you. Lord Chaitanya is open then, because a blanket was shielding Sanatan from receiving the mercy. It was Sanatan's idea, to some extent Sanatan Goswami's idea, that I am the controller. I can control which quilt to have. My Shrikant Sen, my brother-in-law, gave it. So that Aham Mameti was still there. So when he gave that up and took that which was rejected even by a mendicant, the mendicant with whom he had the exchange, the mendicant asked him, are you sure you want to exchange this with me? He says, yes, very much. The other mendicant gave it off. So even that which was rejected by the mendicants, something has to be accepted. There has to be at least some stick in hand to show Krishna that I am making my effort. So he accepted the old quilt. Practically no one accepting it, he accepted that. Lord Chaitanya said, yes, your endeavor, that one's finger, yes, the quilt. But it should not be such an endeavor that Krishna feels, all right, he's protecting himself anyways, I'll wait some more time. Krishna still has to feel that I need to give him my protection completely. Those two fingers have to come together, they have to stick together. There shouldn't be any distance between them. So, how does Sanatana Goswami, he is following Lord Chaitanya's order. He has already been a successful businessman, he's been a successful politician, he's been a successful Bhagavad Katha reader and enthusiast. Everything he's achieved. And more than that, he's achieved the position of even offering an advice to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Chaitanya taking it. Oh yes, Vrindavan I should not go with so many people. And he has received the mercy of also, or he has accepted fully the mercy of Lord Chaitanya's instruction of giving up everything and going to Braj. What benedictions he has received. But he has not forgotten the dangerous situation in this material world just because there have been so many benedictions. Neech jati, neech sangi, parama adham. Kuvishaya kupe padi. What does he say? Kuvishaya kupe padi, goainu janam. Birth is gone. And he was initiated, by Lord Chaitanya. These are your beads. From today onwards, your new name shall be Sanatan Das. But Sanatan Das never forgets that he is Neech Jati, Neech Sangi. Where was I born? I was born in, this clan of this dynasty in this material world. That is where this body was born. That is after initiation. Nich Sangi, he has given up all association, but he hasn't forgotten the dangerous impact of unfavorable association. No? Just like many of you, if you look up your sleeves, you'll find this big patch. You see on your left hand sometimes, there's this horrible looking patch, scar. Why? Because of the vaccination at the age of 5. Most of us have it, right? Just imagine at the age of 5, it permeates our existence till we give up this body. That is a vaccine of this material world. So what to speak of the association that we've had before coming to Krishna consciousness? How much it must have permeated our every fiber. Therefore Sanatana Goswami is saying Nich Sangi. He is not simply offering some flowery words. My dear spiritual master, what can I do? I am simply useless. Only you are my savior. Please give me mercy. He doesn't forget where he was and what opportunities Lord Chaitanya has offered. Because when we remember that, then we are always grateful. We never fall in the danger of false pride or let's say false comfort in this material world. We never feel the false comfort of this. There is no comfort in this material world, practically speaking. Although Prabodhananda Goswami does mention that Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, but only one who has received the Kataksha of Lord Chaitanya, and reception of the Kataksha or the sidelong glance of Lord Chaitanya is not a one-time affair, it is an eternal marriage. You can't help it. After marriage you have to live with that person forever. Morning get up, see that face. Afternoon come for lunch, see that face. Evening, see that face. You have to accept that. So, Lord Chaitanya's glance means marriage of those sorts. Then Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Otherwise, Padam Padam Yat Vipadam. Yat Vipad. Every step there is danger. Hence, Nich Jati, Nich Sangi, Paramadham, Kuvishaya. Not just Vishaya, but Kuvishaya. Imagine. For Sanatana Goswami, there is distinction between badness and more badness. Sense gratification and bad sense gratification. Kuvishaya, kupe padi, goinu janam, and thus I have wasted my life, or I am wasting my life. And why is it like that? How does he remember that? Apanara hita hita, hita ahita, kichui na jani. Grama Vyavahare Pandita Taiche Sattamani. Someone says, Sanatan, you are such a wonderful book distributor. And I say, yeah, I am. Sanatan, you are such a wonderful cook. And he says, yes, I am. Sanatan, you are such a wonderful speaker. And he says, yes, I am. Sanatan, you are such a wonderful tilak putter on your head. Yes, I am. You are such a wonderful kirtaniya. Yes, I am. Taiche Sattamani. Apanara hit ahita. I don't know what is my hit. What is? Do I know? I don't. Sometimes I feel appreciation is bad when actually it should be accepted with humility. Sometimes I feel rejection is good when actually one should be careful not to be alone. I mean, I'm such a insignificantly helpless living entity. Thus, apanara hit ahit, kichui na jani, kichui na jani. Never can I know what is my. Yes, as a duty, under the instruction, sometimes we do counseling. But as soon as that is over, just as, a doctor sees a patient, generally the idea is touching someone, immediately disinfect your hands. Similarly, anything to do with the material affairs, do that as a duty and disinfect consciousness immediately after that. How do we do that? Offer it unto the lotus feet of one's Acharya. Immediately disinfect it. Keep it with ourselves. We may feel that we have become a good so-and-so person. So we have to be sure that we do not know what is our benefit and what is not to our benefit. We have to be convinced of this. If we need to have blind faith in anything, we should have blind faith in this principle. And there's no need to have blind faith in this principle, because with open eyes or closed eyes, we know that this principle is true. We have no idea what is for our benefit or what is not to our benefit. Now, my dear Lord, by your mercy, you've liberated me from one situation. Please, you've liberated me from materialistic life. Please explain to me now in the liberated stage what is my duty. Then he mentioned that famous verse that we know, Ke ami, ke no ama, jare taputroe. Why is it that even after trying so much, this body troubles me so much? It doesn't really assist me in practicing devotional service. I mean, that is one of the biggest problems for us sadhakas, isn't it? The body simply does not assist us in practicing devotional service. It is the determination and the enthusiasm that forces his body to lend assistance. If those determination and enthusiasm goes, then the body simply goes towards its nature of, tamo and rajogun. So why jare taputroe? Why does this body not assist me? Because the body is just sum total of goodness, passion and ignorance. Whenever I look into the mirror, I realize that I am wearing a criminal's dress. What is a criminal's dress? The sum total of goodness, passion and ignorance. Iha na jani, kamone hit hoye. And if I don't understand this, where is the question of benefit for myself? So this is our situation. Our situation is that we are in the deep, dark, dense clouds of illusion, and therefore the mercy of the spiritual master is very necessary. And that mercy is in the form of what is being spoken here, Brahma Vidam, the instructions or that which is spoken by the Acharyas, the spoken word. This spoken word is compared to being medicine. Bhavoshada shrotra manobhiramat. What type of medicine? When it enters through the ears into the heart, Chetah prangana sangini vijayate sarvendriyanam kritim. And Rupa Goswami composed this verse, one of these lines. Lord Chaitanya was so happy. He wanted him to repeat it in front of Ramananda Rai and in front of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. What is that verse? Please repeat that. Please repeat that. What the holy names? Because that is the real benefit. The holy names conquers. It enters into the courtyard of the heart and conquers the mind and all the senses. Or the holy word. Name is the word. Not different. The katha, Krishna katha, or the instructions of the spiritual master. So we must allow this, we must regularly take and allow the medicine to enter through the ears, through oral reception, enter the heart, and let it do its effect. Let it have its effect day in and day out. Therefore, whenever there is an opportunity, whenever and wherever there is an opportunity, we should accept it as a lifeline. No? Karodpati kaun banega? Lifeline. 3 lifelines, we have only 1. But it is an inexhaustible lifeline, the lifeline of Krishna's pastimes. So what is happening is that Nanda Baba is sitting with all the cowherd men and they're discussing Krishna's activities, Krishna Leela here. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says they're not just discussing it, they're singing and they're chanting and dancing. Because that is how Krishna's pastimes are. You immediately start enacting it. And if that does not take place, then we must try to do something else with our reception of Krishna Katha so that we feel so joyful that we start dancing when we are narrating Krishna Katha. We start enacting it when we are hearing Krishna Katha. Kriyatam api kuto bhilabhyate tatra mulyam laulyam api ekalam. Rupa Goswami says, whenever you get an opportunity to purchase it, immediately purchase that. Don't wait. Purchase it immediately. And what is the purchasing power that one should have? The enthusiasm to purchase it. The laulya, the greed to purchase Krishna Katha. And put it into our ears immediately. Take that, put it into the ears and let it go into the heart. Srinivas Acharya, he had heard so much about all the wonderful pastimes of the Lord. And then he thought that let me visit. Was it Srinivas Acharya? You know, he once goes to visit one person and then, or was it Jiva Goswami? Srinivas Acharya. He goes to Jagannath Puri to meet with that Gadadhar Pandit, and Gadadhar Pandit, you know, he says, yes, I would love to read the Bhagavatam to you, but all the words have been washed away. He goes all the way to Bengal just to get another Bhagavatam, so that he can hear it from the mouth of Srinivas Acharya. So eager to hear from a Brahma Vidam. Krishna Katha is so attractive that Krishna himself is attracted by it. We know the pastime in Dwarka, when the queens wanted to hear about Krishna's childhood pastimes. Rohini Devi's only concern was Krishna and Balaram should be nowhere in the vicinity of hearing these pastimes. Because when they hear it, they'll forget that they are the Krishna and Balaram of Dwarka. Very interesting. Krishna and Balaram of Dwarka forget who they are hearing Krishna's pastimes. So Krishna's pastimes are so attractive. This is such a wonderful medicine or aushadhi that has descended into this material world. So this process of hearing is actually the most potent and the most powerful way to become qualified in devotional service. If one wants to become qualified in devotional service, then one must be eager to hear. And not just eager to hear, but one must hear. And one must, after receiving what we have heard, one must meditate on it. One must retain that. Srila Prabhupada would speak of himself and say, that was my only qualification. My spiritual master noticed this. He said, yes, I have noticed him. He likes to hear, he does not go away. I will initiate him. Right? So Krishna Katha depends upon both the speaker and the hearer. Prabhupada would often speak about how we must hear Krishna Katha from the proper authentic source. Anyone who has a bit inclination or a bit of some favorable attitudes towards Krishna is okay. The more qualified in terms of being favorable to Krishna, the better in terms of accepting the speaker. At the same time, the recipient or the hearer also needs to be qualified, and one of the main challenges to hearing Krishna Katha is rag and dvesh, attachment and aversion. Attachment to hearing and aversion to not hearing. Hearing few things, not hearing few things. Hearing someone, not hearing someone. So this raga, dvesh, unless and until we are free, we try to become free from such discrimination, slowly but surely, prasad will not be received, will not get the mercy. So raga, dvesha, vimuktais tu, vishayan, indriyaischaran. It is on this attachment and aversion that the senses, they roam on the chariot of attachment and aversion. Like one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples was saying, that once they were on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada, and he was right behind, step by step behind Srila Prabhupada, very close to him, and Prabhupada was speaking. But suddenly he realized that although he was physically in the presence of Prabhupada, mentally he was thousands of miles away because of his anarthas. So here is a potent speaker, but by one's own, acceptance, we realize that someone can be millions of miles away just because of rag and dvesh, or attachment and aversion. It's very important that we become free from attachment and aversion. Krishna Katha helps in that. Hearing and chanting does help in that. What is the practical application of all that we have? You see, our movement, many of us have come here, and it does boost our ego. We need some appreciation, and appreciation means some boosting of ego. So each one of us is inspired to be a giver of Krishna. The process is so powerful that although it is done with an ego boosting on an ego boosting platform of ours, but then Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam, somehow or the other that big fire, forest fire, is completely put out by the process itself. But yes, we like it. Which other place will find that we are encouraged? Now you should be Guru. Jare dekhatare kah Krishna Upadesh. Nowhere. So the practical application of what we've heard today is, as Srila Prabhupada said, I heard nicely, therefore I am able to speak nicely. Once Srila Prabhupada was giving his morning class, and there was some important festival coming up, and all the devotees were really, and slowly the strength of the audience was becoming thin and thinner. So then Prabhupada called someone and said, where is everyone going? So Prabhupada, there are so many different services that are to be done, and therefore everyone is required in their respective services. Prabhupada said, no. For doing services, we can hire people. But for hearing, we can't hire anyone to sit and hear. Although in Kali Yuga, even that is possible. So, ardent services practically, obviously all of us have been through the seva of being service in charges sometime or the other. For some seva, some festival, or for an entire ashram, or for an entire congregation. We realize the practical implication of it is services have to be done, right? Not at the cost of saying that this is more important than Krishna Katha. Never at the cost of the feeling that it takes precedence over Krishna Katha, hearing of Krishna Katha. That is not the philosophy. It never was. Because Krishna Katha is service. If we hear nicely, we do service nicely. We must adjust everything so that we can hear nicely. And then when we do our services, we should do such that we get the intelligence to, again, the next day, adjust everything to hear nicely. They both go hand in hand. Nothing can be compromised. So yes, if we need to preach nicely, if we need to create an impact in the lives of others, if we actually feel that people are suffering in the dark well of material existence, if we see that people are actually caught up in the cycle of birth and death, and we can offer them an opportunity, then for all of these to actually manifest, the process of hearing is very important. It can never be replaced by any other process. So here Nanda Maharaj is saying Gargo yad aha Brahman anvabhavi. Whatever he spoke is exactly happening. Why? Because he spoke Brahma Vidam. He did not mentally speculate. I think maybe your child may do this or like that. He's speaking based on scriptures. Previously, in a previous age, your son was this. He was born in this color. Now he has come in this color, and these are his activities. So this is not regular astrological prediction. This is astrological prediction which is based on scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, the Amal Puranas. And therefore, it is so different. Nanda Maharaj is saying, Anvabhavi Anubhav. Or, he is not speaking just like a parrot. Shukon Mukha Dravya. It has been further, embellished by the realization of Shukadev Goswami, as the Bhagavatam says, or here Nanda Baba is saying, it has been embellished by the realization of Garga Muni. And that is what makes the difference between a speaker who has lot of realization and a speaker who has just knowledge but not enough practice. That is why it is recommended that whenever we get to hear from a very, very realized person, we must make all efforts to go and hear. Process of hearing, wherever it is there, we take benefit of it from the proper source. But specifically, if there is a very particular Acharya speaking, we should not try to have choices in life then, or make choices then. Why? Because lavena pitulayam, that lavena bhagvat bhakti sangasya or bhakt sangasya, that bhakta sang or bhakti sang for even a lava matra, na swargyam, na punarbhavam, and na martenam, that which is relished by the people who are in the cycle of birth and death, or material desires, none of those trouble us. That, I don't know what is the source, but it is often quoted, the so-called story about Narad Muni once wondering, what does this verse mean? Sadhu sang, sadhu sang. I was recently in a wonderful class. He goes to Lord Vishnu and asks him, what is the actual meaning of sadhu sang, love matra sadhu sang sarv siddhi hoy? And Lord Vishnu tells him, you go to this place, there is some animal, you can begin with an ant. So he goes there and asks the ant dies. So he comes back perplexed. What happened? He says, oh, doesn't matter, ant died. Lord Vishnu says, now you go to the dog. Then the dog dies. Then he comes back. Then you go to the cow dies or the calf dies. Then you go to the baby. He says, no Baba, I will not go to the baby. Everyone is dying when I ask them this question. No, you go. And the baby says, don't you remember? You may not remember, but I know. I was the same living entity as an ant. By a moment's association of you, I got transferred to a higher body of a dog. Then a moment's association of you, I got transferred to a higher body of a calf. Then a moment's association with you, now I'm in a human body. Now instruct me. I'm able to accept, understand your instructions. Please instruct me now. So what was the process? Hearing, the ant heard. What is sadhu sang, sadhu sang, sadhu sang? Based on Narada's realization, his query, which was coming in direct, by receiving the direct order of Lord Vishnu, you go and ask. So in parampara, that was going on. So potent. So these are stories to inspire us, not to make us feel, Amar Chitra Katha aa gaya ye. Not like that. So the sublime and very powerful and easy way is to be very eager to hear from advanced Vaishnavas. Taking shelter of advanced Vaishnavas is very important. Just like if you have a bicycle, nowadays not many people do it. No one has a bicycle anymore. But if you have a bicycle or sometimes a tricycle, or sometimes even if your car, it's no longer working, attach yourself to a vehicle that is more powerful. You move at the same speed as that vehicle. So hearing from advanced Vaishnavas is like that. When we attach ourselves to them, we move at the same speed at which they are moving, at least for the time we are there. Sublime process. Very easy. Very powerful. So somehow or the other, we have to see if we can achieve that in our life. Then our life will also be sublime. We'll make advancement in devotional service. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Are there any questions or comments? Okay. You can.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. You mentioned the importance of hearing and asking questions, etc. The example of Sanatana Goswami. So, especially when we seek guidance or seek spiritual instructions and want to hear something about Krishna, it's like basically at that time we are in the mode of taking. It's for me. It's for my benefit, it's for my upliftment, and like that. But it's said that, a Vaishnava always lives to give, not to take. A Vaishnava always is a servant. He doesn't want something, he wants to give. And it's also said that one should be independently thoughtful and not always seek from people. So how do we balance these two concepts?
All right. A Vaishnava or a practicing devotee gives one's consciousness in the process of hearing from advanced Vaishnavas and gives that which has heard to those who are thinking, who come to us for some advancement. So there is give and take like that. It's always giving. We always are in the position of being lower. With seniors, we receive by giving our consciousness to them, open hearts. So we give there also, but we receive. And with those who want some guidance from us, we give what we have received and receive their faith or their open hearts for us. So it's a two-way process always. Is that all right? All right.
Prabhuji, is very powerful class, Prabhuji. I couldn't understand one point, Prabhu. You mentioned about Jaritya Putraya, and you mentioned that body doesn't help, and you mentioned few things about determination and enthusiasm. Can you clarify that point, Prabhuji, then?
Tapatraya means the tribulations of the threefold miseries. Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik, Adi Devik. Basically, it is an identification with this body that makes us go through the three types of miseries. So essentially, if the body is left to itself, the body and the mind, if it is left to itself, its nature is to attract the threefold miseries. Yes? Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. So this body also is this fourfold things. However, the living entity's attraction to Krishna in this material world is manifested through its determination and enthusiasm. Utsahat nishya dhet. Satovrit shadbhir bhakti prasidati. So that is the reflection of the soul's original attraction to Krishna in this material world. So the nature of the body can be overcome by the quality of the soul through enthusiasm and determination. And if that is not there, then the nature of the soul is overcome by the nature of the body. Then one goes into lamentation and distress and laziness, unlimited desires. Is that all right? Okay. Thank you so much. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.